I get it, you're scrolling through endless listings, each one screaming ultra fast, ultra powerful, and you end up buying a laptop that looks amazing on paper but feels like a disappointment when you actually try to game on it. I've been there, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive today. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I want to help you avoid the same mistake I almost made by walking through the real-world experience of a laptop that's trying to be the ultimate all-in-one for gamers and creators alike. First off, the MSI Stealth 18 AI Studio isn't just another gaming laptop. It's positioned as a portable desktop replacement, promising AI-boosted performance, a massive 18-inch QHD Plus panel at 240Hz, and a desktop-class RTX 4080 GPU. Those headlines can feel overwhelming, especially when you're weighing whether to spend a six-figure price on a single machine. The key question is, does the hardware translate into a smoother, more productive daily workflow, or are you paying for a badge that only shines under specific conditions? Let's start with the screen, because that's the first thing you'll notice when you open the lid. The 18-inch QHD Plus panel hits 2560160 with a buttery 240Hz refresh rate and full 100% DCI-P3 color coverage. In practice, the difference between 60Hz and 240Hz is most noticeable in fast-paced shooters like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare or Valorant. I ran a couple of 2-hour marathon sessions, and the motion remained crisp, with almost no ghosting even when I pushed the mouse to the edge of the screen. For creative work, the wide color gamut means you can edit Lightroom photos or DaVinci Resolve timelines without worrying about banding or washed-out shadows. The trade-off is that the panel sits behind a glossy coating, so if you game in a brightly lit room, you'll notice some flare. A simple matte screen protector can mitigate that, but it adds an extra step you might not want to take. Now, the processor. The Intel Ultra 9185H is a 12-core beast that ramps up to 5.1 GHz. In day-to-day use browsing, streaming, running Office apps, it's indistinguishable from any other high-end laptop. The real advantage appears when you combine it with MSI's instant gratification AI-powered performance mode. The AI monitors your workload and dynamically allocates power, giving you that extra burst of speed in games that suddenly pop up a new level or in Photoshop when you apply a heavy filter. I tested it with a 12-track music project in Ableton Live, and the latency stayed under 10 milliseconds, which is impressive for a laptop of this size. The downside is the power draw. Under sustained load, the CPU and GPU together can push the power envelope to the maximum, which leads to two practical concerns: heat and battery life. Heat management is where the Stealth 18 shows both its engineering chops and its limitations. MSI equipped the chassis with a dual-fan, vapor chamber system that does a respectable job of keeping temperatures under control during short gaming bursts. However, during a continuous 45-minute Cyberpunk 2077 session at max settings, the CPU topped out at 93°C and the GPU hovered around 89°C. The fans cranked up to a level that you could hear from across the room, and the laptop became noticeably louder. If you plan to stream, edit 4K video, or game for hours on end, you'll need to accept that the noise floor will rise. The good news is that the laptop doesn't throttle dramatically. You still get consistent frame rates, just with that fan whine in the background. Battery life is another hidden trade-off. With a 99 Wh battery, you'd think the machine could survive a full day of work. In reality, the battery drops to about 45% after a 2-hour mixed workload of gaming and video rendering. If you're using it primarily plugged into a desk, that's fine, but anyone who expects true mobility will find it limiting. The inclusion of Thunderbolt 4 and a 1 USB 3.2 Gen 2 port means you can connect an external GPU or a power bank, but those solutions add cost and bulk. Speaking of ports, the Stealth 18 gives you the essentials without overloading the sides. The single Thunderbolt 4 port supports DisplayPort 2.1, so you can drive a 4K monitor at 144Hz or even a 5K screen if you need that extra real estate for video editing. The USB-C power delivery also means you can charge the laptop while using an external display, a convenience that reduces cable clutter on a workstation desk. On the other hand, you'll miss having a dedicated Ethernet jack, so if you rely on wired internet for competitive gaming, you'll need a dongle. Storage and memory are where the no-compromise claim holds up. Two 4TB PCI SSDs give you a combined 8TB of ultra-fast storage. In my tests, loading large game worlds or importing 8K video files took virtually no time. The 64GB of DDR5 RAM ensures you can keep dozens of Chrome tabs, heavy Photoshop files, and a game client open simultaneously without hitting a memory ceiling. The only practical downside is that the SSDs are soldered, so you can't upgrade them later. If you anticipate needing more than 8 TB down the road, you'll have to rely